Hi. Hopefully this is recording with. Anyway, I'm just testing out my new gear. I'm in between sessions, like I just did a few, and now I'm working on another one. But before I launch into it, there's a few things I'm noticing, and I thought I'll share it with you, and hopefully it'll be useful. So mainly, I'm looking into the aspect of getting out of body and some of the blockages that you or others might experience. And it's mainly the focus of no memory, no lucidity, and also waking up. So you actually like you're out of body, or it's like, hey, I'm dreaming, and boom, you wake up. So there's a few things to it, and yeah, I'm not really sure where to start. Like I wasn't really ready to record it. I was just like, oh, like what the hell? Like I had a few things that I wanted to say, and like I just like thought like mentioning it. Anyway, waking up, dreams being meaningless, and no memory. Let's talk about these things. So as I'm working on this person, this girl's having issues with getting out of body. Like she is kind of like naturally used to have it easy in the childhood, but then blockages just appeared. And a lot of people might notice the same thing where when they're younger, they might have a lot of experiences, but as you get older, as you have more experiences in life, all of a sudden you have more blockages and it's harder to get out of body, to remember these dreams and stuff like that. It has a lot to do with what we experience throughout this life. There's going to be a lot of people and situations that will sort of trigger similar things that happened in our past lives. Certain phrases, certain actions, and all of a sudden you sort of recall, like, oh, yeah, that's why I decided to do or not to do certain things. So when it comes to waking up, um, yeah, some people, like I'm seeing, they get messed with in their past lives. As in, imagine a situation where you get captured and now there's torture, hardcore torture, where, you know, it can get as gruesome, as gory, as horrible as you can imagine. I don't really have to describe those details and stuff, but, people are being tortured, and next thing that happens is like they're connected to devices that sort of like takes their consciousness and shoves it to one of these like virtual realities. And now, like, look at this. In today's world, we have virtual reality. We sort of think like, hey, it's advanced. We like put on glasses. It's almost real. Like graphics are great and stuff. And we're still slowly getting there, progressively. But what we see right now today is just a very small bit. Now imagine the same tech or same concept of virtual reality, except a few billion years advanced. Beings out there have been living for quite a while, and we are sort of newcomers here, and we're just like, hey, we got virtual reality, we're so awesome, look at us advancing, and we're like, yeah, right, like you don't know what's out there for real. So with their technology that is like billions time ahead of us, for them to take our consciousness and put it in another world, and it's like living another life. It's like this whole life is like a virtual reality, so if we don't really realize it or think about it that way, or some of us do, some of us don't. But anyway, people that get captured sometimes and they get like sort of like tortured and stuff, they're being put into these like fake realities that are sort of like simulations of their past lives. But basically, it's not their life. It is a simulation. It's like playing a video game. We're playing a video game. We have a character. We're enjoying it, or maybe not. And then, okay, we're done for today. We log out. We quit, and we go on, carry on with this present life. But with some aspects, with the billion like tech ahead of us, billion years tech ahead of us, um, they can put us in, and we basically lose control, where like all of a sudden they have all the control, so they shove us in there. We experience life, and it's not necessarily fun. It can be horrible, and basically the whole simulation is set up for us to be triggered as much as possible. So they're gonna cause one horrific incident after another. We're gonna be tortured. We're gonna go through a lot of hell. As in, relationships and everything being torn apart, and you fell in love, and everything destroyed, and you're actually having fun, and your business falls apart. Anything that you love in this life, any of your passions and stuff, think about like the best thing that you have being taken away, destroyed, and actually really in a bad way. So a lot of that stuff happens, and then you being pulled out, like, whoa, that was intense. But it was just like a movie, like watching a movie, except it was so real that you experience pain, and like it was like sort of stays with you. And I imagine that was just one simulation where you lived for 50 years, or like 100 years, or a thousand years, and you're being pulled out, and just like a 1 second pass, and you're like, and again, like for people that might have watched Naruto, there's this guy Itachi who can actually use his like Sharingan and cause this like a basic simulation of one event, and people can be experiencing like day after day after day, as like they're being killed and tortured and watching people they love die and stuff like that. So this stuff happens. And now, it's like kind of Slavic culture. But anyway, it was just 1 second. And now they're gonna do it for a few years, constantly. And imagine how much time is that. So you're being tortured again and again and again and pulled out. And for you, it feels like you've lived forever, for thousands of years, for like tons of lives. And you're like, holy shit, that was like intense. And so now you're done. You're all messed up because you no longer can tell the difference between what is real, what life did you experience, because like they mess you up. It's like MK Ultra, but like on steroids. And now they're trying to mess up your Akashic records where you think that this simulation is your real life. So now after they let you go and other stuff, like they might shove you in an earth or other places, but basically you wake up and you believe that whatever you experienced is your past life, or you might have no memories of it. But the thing is that everything that happened in these experiences, all your thoughts, your decisions, what you've been through, becomes like a hypnotic command. It's like a trigger. So if you've been suffering, and let's say every time you see a spider, you recall a few events where spiders were massive beings and they killed you, they tortured you, or you like, oh, maybe you have some fears, like afraid of heights, or like, you're trying to get out of there. You're in this torture like constantly, and your whole idea is to wake up. Wake the fuck up, get the hell out of there, go back to this body and like sort of try to get out of this like whole torture. So you are trying to wake up really hard. But the thing is with the bad guys, everything you say, they're going to use it against you, but 1,000 times more. And so this command for yourself to wake up and get the hell out of that like clusterfuck, you are like creating this, like really trying really hard to get back to that body. Like, whoa, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in that simulation. But they take that thing and they use it against you. So now, when in this life you, let's say, get out of body, you're dreaming, you're in the astral, all of a sudden you wake up. Like there's this command, wake up. So it's like there's this chain or the anchor that constantly pulls you back in this body, keeps you here present and stuff like that. That is something you might want to be aware of. It's not necessarily happening in your world. You might not have gone through it, but there's quite a few people that have experienced similar things like that. While you're listening to it, you might sort of notice like, hey, yeah, like I feel like this might be a thing and stuff. So feel free like to sort of just consider it, think about these scenarios. And if you're feeling like, like for example, you're trying to practice getting out of body, dreaming and other stuff. And anytime you sort of get excited or you're like, hey, I'm dreaming, boom, and you get back. So there's this like command or mechanism that constantly pulls you back. And what you want to do is sort of revoke the agreement or the decision, I have to wake up, I have to get back. You sort of get through the fit. And the thing is, like it's like a command pulling you back here. Once you get through the fit, it's for you to decide whether you want to come back or not, but it is something to explore. And like as I'm like doing these sessions, I'm finding a lot of like these commands and triggers that we should be aware of. Not like it's our case necessarily, but it might be, like it's always good to have additional information. So yeah, like this is just one of the things. I'm going to probably make a few more videos regarding like these like triggers that pull us back and stuff. I guess that being said, try focusing on yourself, like see if you have anything like it. Maybe think about like removing any kind of agreements, or just like from now on you have awareness on it, so you're done with it. Another thing, some people, let's say they're in a dream and they get all excited. The thing is, a lot has to do with our vibration and emotion. Because like in a dream state, when we're like living there, we get there like, so we wake up and usually we're in the middle of the action. It's not like the beginning of it. Sort of like, hey, I'm going to start the story. I'm dreaming now. Let's do this. And like a lot of people just wake up in the middle of somewhere. They close their eyes here, they open their eyes and they're like, whoa, I'm driving a car. What the fuck? Okay. And it's like you sort of know all the backstory, but you're in the middle of something. Like that's the usual scenario for most people. But anyway, while you're there, when you realize like, hey, it's a dream, or you become more aware of your surroundings, your vibration changes because all of a sudden you're like, hey, hell yeah, I can do this. So you get excited, and all of a sudden your vibration like drops up or like goes up. Yeah, that was awesome. Anyway, your vibration goes up, and you react differently. Your emotions are different, so it changes the vibration, and you pull yourself out of that world. Same as in you're out of body or in the astral projection, and you see an entity. And you're like, oh fuck, and like it scares you. So again, your vibration changes. You're being pulled back to body. So like again, like trying to get more confront and paying attention, or trying to experience everything but not react too much. So you like might want to practice working on your emotions and how you sort of control it, like, okay, like, you know, like sort of staying in this neutral place. And the best thing for you to do, I guess, like the best practice that was for me at least, is, let's say, focusing on your own hand, like right here, there's my hand, and here I am looking at it. So as you're trying to look at it, like no blinking, no feelings, keep it neutral. You're gonna start feeling like this kind of like the energy thing. And the more you focus on it, the more clear it's gonna get. But the thing is, the moment you're gonna go like, hey, I see it, boom, it's gonna disappear. Because you're, again, energy changed. So you have to keep it neutral. So you can like practice looking at your hands, looking at other people, going out there, like focusing on any kind of plants, trees and stuff like that. And like while you're sitting in the park, you can like focus on one object and you're just sitting there watching. But the longer you're gonna focus in, the more energy you're gonna see popping up. And so now you're becoming like more aware of it and more in control of how to keep it neutral and how to keep it long lasting. When you're gonna go in a dream state, or let's say in out of body, you're gonna sort of have this sort of ability because you're practicing it, you're going to build the muscle. So again, you can keep it neutral and sort of like try practicing not to jump too much, like, oh, whoa, like too excited or too kind of like scared and stuff like that. So if you practice it, neutrality is going to help you out. That being said, I'm going to wrap it up and probably make a few more videos and we're going to go from there. So hopefully this was sort of useful for you. Explore your thoughts, like things that like sort of might be blocking you from getting out of body or dreaming and stuff. And, you know, feel free to share your comments or like thoughts like, oh, how you experience it all. And I'm looking forward to talking to you, reading your comments, and see you next video. So bye-bye.